All right. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending on when you're looking at this. Ed Lada, Kansas City. This is my office. Don't judge me based on the clutter. I apologize. I like to call it organized chaos. Clearly, I need to kaizen my desk, but we're trying something a little different this time. Part of the reason why we're not doing a live town hall was one, because of the weather, but B, because we want to make sure that as many people within the organization can watch it and get the information that we want to share with you guys. So, with that, I'll go ahead and start. I'm sure you'll see the presentation up on your feed there. But first, before we jump into the slides, I want to first take a chance to answer the town hall questions that were submitted before this recording. The first question was, we all went through the performance review process this winter with a stated expectation of performance-based pay increases. Is this still taking place? And when can we expect to see those increases? Great question. Yes, we are doing that, and we are very, very hopeful. I'm very confident that everybody, if you are eligible for a raise, will have your raise for the check on the 8th, along with back pay dating back to January 1st. So check your check stubs on the 8th. Make sure that it's there. If you have any questions, contact your supervisor so we can make sure that we answer any questions that you may have. Those who work on the Missouri side that were making $8 an hour or and what have you, that was impacted by the minimum wage increase. Those have already been done starting January 1. So next question is, where do we stand with moving everyone to the north side of the building? We are in progress. Right now, we are finalizing the vendors that are to come and replace some HVAC units on the north side, and also getting construction quotes and whatnot for some of the areas to get us ready for it. Some people have already started to move over. I wish we met our timeline for January, but unfortunately, it took taken longer than we had hoped. But my hope is that we are going to be all moved over by the end of April, or at least progress would have started by the beginning of April. So stay tuned with that. Sorry that's taken so long. Next question was, I was wondering, because we use our donations for analytical purposes, to be more accurate, will we ever be able to count box trucks, trailers, U-Hauls as more than one donation? I know that here at a location we receive horse trailers full of donations that fill 6 gaylords, but we can only count it as one donation. Other stores receive trailers from Habitat and can only count the donations as one. I would like to be more accurate when tracking these donations. So the answer to that question is no, in part because the actual number that we count are the donors themselves, not necessarily the pieces that they donate. In part because when you average all the donations out, you may get a trailer, but you also may get one bag quite often. And so what we decided to do is count the donors because it's a better representation of the potential of that particular store, of that particular area, and speaks more toward how many donors we need at a store to be successful with the donations that come through per donor. But great question. Really appreciate the question. Appreciate the forward thought on it. And I totally understand why that would be, why that would be frustrating, especially unloading a trailer and not counting every one of those. But it really is donor count, not donation count. The last question is, I would like to know if there is still consideration for parity pay for our Kansas associates, non-leadership members to match Missouri and the minimum wage increase, and if so, can we please find out the status? So right now, no, unfortunately, we're not able to raise wages in conjunction with Missouri's minimum wage increase. Unfortunately, at this point, we just can't afford it. But that being said, as we continue to build upon our operational efficiencies and operational excellence, and really start driving production more and getting more revenue through our retail stores and other avenues, other diversified revenue streams. Our hope is that one day we can eventually rise all tides. Unfortunately, right now we just can't afford to do it across the board. That being said, if you are eligible for a raise, we were able to budget for a raise this year, which I was extremely happy for. I'm pleased about, considering where we were in August. If y'all remember, in August we had lost $661,000. and we'll go into where we ended the year in 2018. But I'm very pleased that we are able to issue a merit increases. Those who received a bump in minimum wage on the Missouri side are received their raise, and those who are not and that are eligible for raises are about to see them hopefully at the end of the week. So with that, we'll go ahead into the presentation. So real quick overview of 2018 and 2017. Mission did an incredible job. They tripled the amount of people served. So in 2017, we served 798 people. At the end of last year, they had served 2,700, over 2,700 people. And in 2017, they placed 155 people, and that number was increased to 269. Absolutely incredible work, tripling the amount of people served in a year. The mission staff should be extremely proud of that fact. Great numbers, and hopefully for 2019 we'll strive to do even more. Retail, as you can see, donations were up 10% last year, which is great. Unfortunately, production was down 9.2% on production in 2018, and hardlines a little less than a percent down. The reason why that number is so crucial is because the more we produce, the more revenue we generate, and the more impact we have to our mission. And so looking at January and February, which we will get into here in a minute, we really need to start honing in on getting that production up in order to drive more toward our mission. And but great job with mission and retail last year. It was a pretty successful year. To kind of talk about the numbers real quick, from where we were, total revenue in 2018 was up 1% compared to 2017. Specifically, revenue from retail stores, primary and secondary, finished up at 0.7%, so a little less than a percent, so pretty flat there. And just so you know, retail revenue represents about 80% of our revenue, so it's our major economic engine there. Ability One contracts had a nice increase of about 3.5%, and federal contracts represent about 18% of our total budget, total revenue. Overall, we generated a consolidated net surplus of just over $1 million. This is partly due that we transferred half of the county, Geary County, that we weren't delivering any services or stores in. We were able to transfer that to another Goodwill for $960,000. They had a store in our territory, and so we felt like we could do a partner there to make sure that we were both satisfied with that. And that really helped our cash position and capital position by making that move. But it was a big chunk of why we were $1 million over. That being said, in 2018, the second half bottom line performance was $675,000 higher than the first 6 months, which means that we did improve a good deal across the board, especially after the painful August reorganization, but it did prove dividends. And we also improved our liquidity position by $700,000 for cash and short-term accounts, which is great, which is just positioning us for future growth that we'll talk about here in a minute. So for January 2019, total revenue was 1.4 over budget for January, and 3.1 over January 2018 actual. Retail revenue was 3.6 ahead of budget and 4.8 over January actual. Ability One is 6.9% off budget, though up from last year. And a lot of that has to do with extra billing and whatnot. Overall, though, in January, we had a bottom line loss of $111,000 due to certain front-end loaded expenses. That is actually better than what was budgeted for January. We had budgeted a significant loss of about 280, give or take. But that's because we front-loaded the year with certain expenses that we are investing in, especially with capital expenditures and IT and opening Pittsburgh and things of that sort. So we did significantly better than budget, but we still did lose money that month. And finally, our 2019 plan, the budget that was approved by the board is essentially break even. We are working to exceed that budget by strong revenues and expense management. Even at break even, though, we should generate net positive cash flow of about $800,000. And then we are investing that cash to generate back into our stores, facilities, and technological infrastructure, as well as gearing up for growth on the retail side. And so, kind of walk through the slides real quick. Again, basically walking through what the numbers kind of represent that I just kind of broke through. Give you a minute to look over that. And again, talking about January budget to 2019, where we are. So we are trending on the right path. February was a tough month with some weather events that really kind of impacted our retail store. So we'll probably feel some pinch in February, but I think it's nothing that we can't handle. So talking real quick about some changes that have occurred recently that are impacting our business. So Voc Rehab dollars have actually gone from $1.2 million dollars in revenue down to $300,000 in the 2018, and it's been a very, very fun, very massive impact to our mission budgets. Um, uh, Unfortunately, it's a federal program, and there were changes into the program that's affected the revenue that have come with it. And as a result of that, it boosted our expense to revenue in mission services to around 400% at its peak, which is actually the highest ER of any goodwill in the network. What that means is that for every $4 we spend, we only got $1 back. And unfortunately, at that rate, it's just unsustainable. So we're working very diligently and hard to find different ways we can bring revenue in, both on the missions standpoint from a development piece and contracts and eventually fundraising. But the biggest driver behind that is the retail operations. And so you'll be hearing a lot about increasing production, things like that. It really is so we can support the organization so we can move toward a rapid growth model that will help us fund mission in an economically responsible way. Another major impact was minimum wage going up from 2019 to 2021. So when 2021 comes around, the Missouri minimum wage will be $12 an hour. Kansas side has not passed any legislation in regards to minimum wage increases on that side. But that is a major impact to financial impact to the organization. And so, as we start moving into a culture of being data centric, and what I mean by is leveraging information and data in a way to make us more efficient and to make us more productive. You're going to be hearing that a lot over the next several years about really driving and creating systems that will allow us to be as successful as possible with our main engine, as well as other parts of the organization. Also, there's an increased online resale competition. So, ThreadUp is a retail online reseller who is automating their operations, and they are backed by capital investors, which we don't have. They are projecting double-digit growth over the next several years. The number of businesses in this space has changed the way that we think about selling our product and how we position the leapfrog competition in the future. As many of you probably already know, we're working on a pretty interesting project that would allow us to possibly automate some of our production using future state technologies like artificial intelligence and computer vision learning. But what we're trying to do, and what you'll hear a lot about, is our vision for the future. And really, for us, what I would love for us to become is that to own the future state of work. And what I mean by that is adapting technology in a way that is ethically responsible and that really enhances the experience of our employees and the people that we serve. Not only to create skills that are then transferable into the marketplace for jobs now and in the future, but then also to modernize our business operations. That way we can hold off threats that really affect our business model and hopefully leapfrog competition. And so really what we're looking to do is look at some future state technologies, some exciting things in everything from automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality. And so you'll hear a lot of these kind of future state technologies as platforms for creative mission delivery as well as modernization of our business. We really are looking to leverage those technologies to create application certifications in these different types of lines of work. So maintaining automated systems or software systems or e-commerce fulfillment and warehousing and logistics. These are some of the things we're currently exploring. Even cybersecurity, we're currently exploring as a way to modernize our mission delivery to create market relevant opportunities for not only our the people that we serve, but also our employees as well. Um, so as business changes, we need to create a culture that is nimble enough to adapt to the changes that are ahead of us. And so, you'll right now one great comparison to where we are right now as an organization is that we're kind of like a construction site, right? So it looks kind of chaotic. It looks all over the place, but what we're doing is we're building a foundation, and we're building a foundation in order to grow this massive legacy, hopefully, as we build upon a foundation of technology and innovation and efficiencies and operational excellence. And so right now, looks a little messy. I get it, taking some time, but I feel like we are absolutely on the right path to get that done. Great thing about this, though, is that by positioning ourselves to be that leader in the future state of work, it's going to open up tremendous opportunities. And so we've already had great conversations with national partners. We actually submitted a Google grant to get funding for some of these initiatives. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get it or get a portion of it. But we are really starting to really push the envelope a bit about what we're trying to do here in Kansas City and Missouri and Kansas, our entire territory. And I'm extremely excited about that. I feel like we're about to get on the map with what we're about to work on. And it's because of the hard work of everyone out there that's allowing us to get it done. So I thank you. So, I think that, part of what our vision is for the future, talking about the future state of work, talking about new opportunities by leveraging technology, is really to position us for the future. And so, in order for us to achieve what we want to do, rapid growth in retail, diversification of revenue streams, like in contracts, like in fundraising and grants and whatnot, um, and is really that we need to start creating a strong foundation in regards to our financial position. And so, to get out of this rut that we've been in for the last decade of trying to play catch up and really start focusing on how do we generate profit in a way to create a sustainable organization to where we can create some consistency and really grow this thing to the potential that it could be. Um, Metrics that Goodwill International uses about our territory says that we have the potential to be an $83 million organization, and right now we're a $26.5 million organization. So it just shows to the sheer potential of where we can go. But in order to do that, we really need to build that strong foundation to do that. And so part of our tactical plan in the budget that the board approved was that is really focusing on improving our IT infrastructure, position ourselves for operational excellence and efficiency so we can generate enough cash to where we can start growing the business the way that we should. And so with that, though, comes opportunities for growth, and then making sure we communicate that message and that vision. So starting this year, what we're going to be doing, and again, I got my notes, so you have to apologize. I apologize for kind of walking through this, but what we want to do for the future is create a culture that really talks to employee engagement, recognizing the successes of our employees, ethical behavior, trust, and respect. One thing that's kind of concerned me over the last couple of weeks is that we've had a number of theft incidents, and I want to make sure that from a cultural standpoint, you know, that I feel like we can be better, right? And I feel like we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our coworkers to not only hold ourselves accountable to do the right thing, but also understand the impact of those decisions, not only on you and your personal life. I hate to think of employees getting walked out of a store in handcuffs because they stole something. That is not a culture that we want in an organization. But that being said, I also want to make sure that everybody understands that it's okay to fail, and it's okay to make mistakes so long as we learn from those mistakes. While we want to build a culture of accountability, but we really want to build a culture of trust and respect. And in order to do that, we need to hold not only ourselves accountable, but our team members accountable to make sure that we're doing what's right, but then also to lift each other up. and to support and for us to all want to see our brother and sister do better and to create that type of culture and experience within the stores, within our contract locations, within the MSC. That's what I'm hoping that we can develop and create. But at the end of the day, it all starts with what it is that we want to be on an individual level, at a store level, as a group level, as friends, as coworkers. What kind of standard do we want to hold ourselves to? Is stealing product or donations or stealing money out of registers, is that really what we want to represent as a store, as an individual, as a group? And I think we all know the answer to that. No, we don't want to do that, right? And we want to be better than that. But we have to be the change that we want to be. And so I encourage everybody who's watching this to really take stock as to what is it that may be holding you back or us back or the organization back, and let's come together and really think about, okay, how can we fix this? Um, uh, I have complete faith that we will be able to accomplish that in short order. But at the end of the day, it really starts with the individual and what it is that you want to be, what it is that you want to accomplish, and how can we help you do that. So what we're doing right now with our new budget and everything that put us out is to really talk about developing action plans to help align not only with building culture, employee engagement, and really talk about how we are going to celebrate our successes. Um, it's also, understanding that part of our culture needs to be about how much we can generate in our revenue streams to throw enough resources toward supporting our mission, and our mission being our retail operations, workforce development, and everything that comes along with that. So we really need to embrace this culture of operational efficiency and impact and understand that every position in the organization has a massive, massive effect on the health of the organization. And not only health of the organization, but the health of your team members and the health of the people that we serve through our mission programs. I feel like we owe it to ourselves to really push that and own the fact that, hey, we can change lives with a single donation. We can change lives by maximizing our potential. We can change lives by adding new contract opportunities that employ people with disabilities and other barriers. And so with that, most of our tactical plans that we're going to roll out with this budget is going to be geared toward that, right? How does this make us sustainable for the future? How does this position us to rapidly grow so we can deliver more services, so we can grow our retail and grow a mission integrated donated goods retail model? And so with that, what we're going to hope to kind of as part of our foundation is improving communication. And so in order to do that, what we're going to be doing is starting to visiting locations. So going forward, a couple members of the leadership team will visit each location and share an update on what is going on in our organization and give you an opportunity to ask questions. We might even deliver treats on occasion. So hopefully y'all like donuts and cookies and stuff. We will have monthly leadership meetings with directors, VPs, and C-suite in order to make sure that we are hearing as much as we possibly can at the higher levels of the organization in order to better communicate, to better impact everybody in the field and at the MSC and at our contract locations. We'll be hosting quarterly town hall meetings that'll be held electronically so you can see and hear updates of our organization. Again, the reason why we switched to this platform is to give people opportunity to watch more across the board. We felt like viewership or call-in-ship and people coming, we didn't have as much of a audience as we had hoped. So we're hoping that this new platform allows us to communicate these messages more effectively. And again, there's going to be a greater focus on training and development of our team members in retail and across the organization. We're going to start developing training modules that will assist team members with performing their current positions, but then also develop them for future growth. And as the organization grows, more opportunities will naturally become available to team members because hopefully we're trying to open 3 stores this year and maybe as many as 5 stores in 2020. And that's a lot of growth, and along with some ADCs sprinkled in here and there. So that's a ton of growth, a ton of opportunity. But in order for us to do all that successfully, we really need to understand the basics and making sure that we're delivering the basics to the utmost potential that we can. Um, Now, to achieve our goals, it requires each person, each unit working in unison toward the same goals and get the desired lift, right, to get us where we need to go. It's kind of like a plane. If one engine is at full throttle but the others are not, the plane will go in circles. So our focus in 2019 is really building again, building that foundation and creating the right culture surrounding ethics and respect and trust and employee engagement, generating profit for the mission, and also a culture that allows you to learn, allows you to make mistakes, but learn from those mistakes. Now, yes, of course, there's accountability with that, but accountability is more than just discipline. It's more than that. It's way more than that. It is holding ourselves accountable to doing the best job that we can when we're here. And when we're having a bad day or we're having a bad week, acknowledging that and asking for help, asking your team members and saying, hey, look, we're I'm having a tough time. Can you help me? Ask questions. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. If you're having a problem, or if you need assistance, or if you need to ask questions, don't be afraid to reach out and ask those questions. Because I want everybody in the organization to feel like A, they're heard, B, that they are listened, that obviously they were listening to them and hearing them, but then also that they know they can come ask for help and to come get training and to come get education and to just get guidance whenever they need it. So don't be afraid to come and get what you need in order to make you and your family successful. And let's talk about real quick finally about this is our 125-year anniversary this year, and extremely prideful of the fact that we've been around for 125 years, starting as a helping hand and then merging with Goodwill. We're actually older than Goodwill itself. Goodwill was around about to hit their 100-year anniversary, and we're older than Goodwill itself, and that's a pretty profound thing. And honestly, what I'm hoping we can create over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years is an organization that will not only survive another 125 years, but that can survive 300 years. That's what I want our goal to be, is long-term sustainability here within our market and to help people in our community reach their fullest potential through the power of work. And so you'll be hearing over the next year for sure about this concept of, again, owning the future state of work. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, and to kind of share a story real quick, as most of you know, I was born and raised in New Orleans. I lived through Hurricane Katrina, but I was much more fortunate than a lot of my brothers and sisters in that I didn't necessarily have my house washed away in the flood, and I didn't lose any family members in the flood, but I was deeply impacted by the experience, and it was an experience that actually led me, my wife and I, to be homeless for about a month and a half, and being broke and having uh, the the humility, but and the courage to go ask for help in order to get us down the road to the next place that we can stay. And for me, what happened was uh, my job disappeared in a heartbeat, and my life was flipped upside down over something that I had no control over. And what that did for me was gave me a very profound insight of what it is to have a job, what it means to support a family, what it means to support friends in the community and rebuild the community, and the importance of that, and the community partners being such a key integral role of that growth and rebirth. And so for me, I'm so focused and so adamantly passionate about making sure we're prepared for the future state of work because technology is adapting so fast that I'm afraid that jobs that we currently have across any organization and anywhere in the country are going to be rapidly changing, going away, or adapting. Similar, and I'm so passionate about it because that's what happened to me. When Hurricane Katrina hit, I lost my job. I lost a place to live for about a month and a half. I lost contact with friends. I lost employees in the flood. And in an instant, it can change. And so, what I hope that we can accomplish here is to prepare for that inevitability, to always be prepared to make sure that we have the skills that if something changes or something happens in a heartbeat, we can then adapt, right? We can then evolve and move on to bigger and better things, and we can be prepared for whatever is thrown at us. And so I feel like for me, that's my why, right? That's why That's why I'm so passionate about this. And I'll share more about my Katrina story a little later. And if anybody's interested in hearing it, just ask me about it if you see me in the hallway. I'd love to share it with you. But that's why, that's my why, right? That's what gets me out of bed, is that I want to make sure that we can create as together as a community, as a family, we can create an ecosystem that is prosperous and can withstand any hurricane, any natural disaster, anything that's thrown our way. And we can't do that without the support and help of you all. So with that, we're going to be evolving. We're going to be changing. We're going to be sunsetting some programs, and we are going to be adapting and changing things in all facets of the organization by embracing opportunity where we can, and to strengthen our foundation to where we can go and do new things, new exciting things, and deliver more mission, more services within our donated goods retail operations, and eventually the community as well. And so, with that, I hope you embrace this. I hope you feel like you can ask and send questions in whenever you feel like you need to. I hope you feel like you have a voice, and we are creating a culture of learning. And if we're not, call us a task on it. Don't be afraid to voice up if things aren't feeling right or things aren't going right. We need that feedback, and so I want you to know you are welcome to offer that feedback. And if you feel like you're not being heard, you let us know. So with that, thank you very much. I hope everybody has a great weekend, or whenever you see it, have a great week next week. And yeah, talk to you soon.